I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I know I am. Horrible came out with their person that day when you're watching this. So I'm really excited about that. But today I'm here with another wonderful interview for you guys, all about therapeutic fighting and horseback fighting and all that. And if you've been around on my channel, you would know that it's one of my biggest hobbies, and I have another video about that. So go check it out. If you can't link to all the video down here, if you can't understand me, please turn on subtitles because that's why I have them. He button in the corner of this video or on top of the video, depending on the device you're watching this on. And subscribe if you're new. Like this video, comment any questions, or if you ride horses. I want to know. So anyway, I'm here with Molly from Camp Casey. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to be here. My name is Molly Reeser, and I am the very proud founder and director of Camp Casey. And we are a horseback riding program for children with cancer, sickle cell disease, and other life-threatening illnesses.
Awesome. I'm so excited to talk to you. I found Molly by listening to a local radio station that plays my favorite pop music. So why not? You never know. You never know who you're gonna meet or how you're gonna meet them. Same with me. Oh my! I know you are the owner of Camp Casey. Do you want to explain what you might do and your money when supporting it?
Sure. So I am the founder of Camp Casey. So I don't really own it. With nonprofit. It's sort of something that belongs to everybody, really.
Right.
And I have so many stories about how I have really just been kind of along for this journey and along on the ride, because the organization itself really has a mind of its own that I've really had to follow. So, but I started Camp Casey when I was about 19 years old. So I'm now 38. So if you do the math, which is weird because I still feel sometimes like I'm 19 years old, but I got involved with Camp Casey because I started it, and that was way back over 17 years ago now, when I was a student at Michigan State University, and I was studying journalism. So I didn't really have, it wasn't like I was studying to be a vet or anything like that, but I ended up working part-time at a horse farm because, like you, I've always loved animals and loved horses, and I wanted just to be around animals and horses. And so I started working on a farm shoveling horse manure part-time for my job. And it was there that I met a little girl named Casey, and she was going through treatment for bone and brain cancer at the time. And that really touched me because I saw a child going through something very difficult, and I saw a lot of myself in her, actually, because she was such a wonderful, funny, sarcastic little spark plug young girl who loved horses, and it reminded me a lot of myself when I was her age. And so we ended up becoming really good friends, and we would just hang out around the farm together. I'd help her horseback ride, and we shared a really similar sense of humor. And I really loved Casey a lot. I thought that she was a really special little girl. But about 2 years after I got to know her, she passed away. She ended up dying from cancer, and that really was devastating, obviously, for everybody who knew her. And I wanted to do something to honor her, so I decided to put together a one-day program for children like Casey to come and enjoy horses the way that she did. And that just kept spiraling and growing. And now today, 17 years later, it is a nonprofit organization that serves over 1,600 people a year.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know who for those of you who don't know my story with horseback riding, I was kind of at a point in my life where like I was planning. So I'm 20. If you're new to my YouTube channel, and I have cerebral palsy, which means I need help like 24/7, and I'm one of those people who don't like old people taking care of me. No offense to you if you're an old member watching, but I hire young people to be with me, or I have my son do it. And my son were going away to college. And of course, I am not knowing that's not something I want to do. And unfortunately, I found one man who said he would take care of me and never showed up. So I remember texting one of my best friends, Nick, and I'm like, we got the biggest problem you could ever imagine. And he came home from college the very next day and was like, I have somebody you need to meet. And this somebody, better if you're watching this, thank you for saving my life, but he owned her own horse. And he was like, hey, do you want to be sung? And then we wanted being sung. And then after that, it was like, do you want to ride? And I was like, yeah, but I'm terrified. I used to ride 14 years ago when I was in kindergarten, and I stopped riding because I didn't have the time to do so after I got older. And now I do therapeutic horseback riding twice a week because Banner is not here anymore, and it really helped. Well, he's here, but he's at house. But it really helped me with my mental health. You know, having a disability sometimes can be very difficult because people are so rude to you and they don't even realize that they're being a rude human being, even though you are. And also, it helped me physically. I'm able to do things that I wasn't able to do before horseback riding. So that is kind of my journey and story with horseback riding, in case you guys are new here and were wondering. Yeah. So my next question for you is, I know the benefit of horseback riding for people with a physical disability, but what are some benefits for people who have terminal illness?
So it's interesting that you bring in your own personal experience riding and what that did for you. And the feelings physically, emotionally, mentally that you received from the connection that you had with the horse is, I would bet, and I don't know this for sure because I'm not one of our campers, but from the hundreds of children that I've witnessed connect to that large 1,200-pound animal, I've seen firsthand that it's very similar to the experience you had, where at first they're terrified. Sometimes, I mean, not all of the kids, sometimes, and I should mention, we run 4 different programs, and one of the programs is called Horsey House Calls. And this is where we surprise a child at his or her doorstep with a horse. So the parents know we're coming, but the kids have no idea. So they open the door and there is a horse on their doorstep. And we stay for the afternoon and give the child the opportunity to interact with not only the horse, but the volunteers that we've brought, and also the neighborhood friends and everybody else who ends up gathering to be a part of the day. It really becomes a block party, really. And so sometimes because the kids don't know that we're coming, they open the door and they're kind of scared or a little bit nervous, or it's alarming. So
Right.
you have to put yourself in the place of this child who's going through unthinkable challenges and traumas, and their family is going through just the most terrifying times that they've could ever have imagined. But what we are doing is bringing a little bit of happiness and surprise and sunshine and something really fun to kind of take their minds off of this. We knock on the door, the child opens the door, and there is a large horse on their doorstep. And so
Mm.
there are a variety of reactions that we see. Sometimes they're really excited and ready to go and want to hop on that horse immediately. But other times, and more often, the children can be a little bit um just hesitant or slower to warm up because they don't know if they can trust us. The adults that they have been used to seeing in their day-to-day life are many times the kinds of people who are poking them with needles and taking their blood and taking their in the hospital, administering the medical treatment that they must receive in order to keep them healthy. And to a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, or I mean, even a 10-year-old, it might give them some hesitation to meeting strangers because they don't know if they can trust them. And we are strangers to them immediately. So the
Right.
reactions and then we have a giant horse with us. And we don't use ponies. We don't use little horses or miniature
Mm.
horses. We use full-sized horses. In fact, some of our horses are draft horses. These are like the really big ones that are that you see in the Budweiser commercials or you see
Right.
pulling apart. So the horses that we use are large and cumbersome and very can be very intimidating. But part of our job is to show that child that they can trust us and that they can trust the horse, and helping them conquer that fear initially that they have, and getting them to really get to know the horse, not just by jumping on, but by grooming and petting and learning about the animal itself before we then put the child in the saddle. And 100% of the time, we see that that child that was a little bit timid at first comes out of his shell and wants 7 more rides around the block by the time that we are finished with the visit. Um, the the benefits, though, that you ask me of, they're they're countless. I mean, it would be hard for me. I would be on this call with you all day long if I had to go through all of the
Mm.
benefits I believe come from the human and animal connection. And there have been studies proven about the, dopamine and the ways that horses can reduce stress and all of those sorts of things. But I'm not a scientist. I have not conducted those studies, but what I have done has been to see firsthand the immediate connection that the children have once they are on this horse, once they feel tall. We work with children who are many times unable to walk because of certain brain cancers or balance issues that certain neurological cancers have had on them. So we were able to put the child on this horse, and it gives them the sensation of walking. Um, you mentioned that people can be rude, and people can be, and sometimes they don't know that they're being rude, as you mentioned, but sometimes they do. And um, children are oftentimes victims of bullies. And now you take a child who is looking different because he's lost all of his hair, or the medications has made the child's face bloat, or the physical impairments that are results of different treatments that they are going through, or sometimes it might be a permanent change that they have physically, amputations from certain bone cancers. So children going through this, walking through a world of sometimes cruel people who stare and say rude things, or other children who might not know that they are being rude, but they are pointing or staring or not wanting to catch cancer, which is
Right.
something. There are all sorts of stigmas and difficulties that these children are going through looking different. It's not just an illness that is causing them to feel terrible, which it does, but it's also causing them to wear it on the outside. And so wherever they go, they're being looked at or pitied. And so we oftentimes hear of situations where the child has not only been going through the most difficult times medically, but also experiencing difficulties at school or with the neighborhood kids. Well, one of the benefits to bringing a horse to that child's home with our big flashy trailer and having this whole party that we throw where we are bringing pizza and crafts and music and games, and we are making riding that child up and down the neighborhood sidewalks. That child is the most popular kid for that day. I mean, everybody
Right.
wants to be that child's friend. And we see that firsthand because the entire neighborhood starts to gather. And not only for the child who's going through this being celebrated and feeling just so magical and special, not only is that experience happening for the child, but the siblings are feeling that way too. The siblings are also part of the celebrity family, and the parents who have seen their share of neighbors starting to retreat and not want to come out and talk to them about what they're going through. Now the whole neighborhood is coming out and embracing the family. So of course the day is fun, and it's an experience that the child will never forget. And it's something that is a beautiful connection that the child is able to establish with the animal itself. But even beyond that, it's just what our organization is setting out to do, is to give that child the opportunity to feel celebrated and supported and emotionally, physically, and mentally cared for in a way that they really, really need during these hard times.
Right, I couldn't agree more. Even though I have funny, a lot of what you said resonate with me I because I also have trust issues because when you have funny, especially as a young adult, it's really hard because a lot of people who you thought were your best friends have either A, walking out of your life with no explanation, or B, when you text them, they're like, oh yeah, I'll hang out with you, of course I will. And then tears her an hour before they come. And then you're like, I wanna hurt somebody because
Mhm.
it's so wrong. And so me being on that horse have also taught me, so because of my balance issue, I have two people on either side of me, and normally the a high school volunteer, at least at my point, and I have made two of my best friends now who are taking over for my friends who are at college. So they're now going to be here during the week with me after
Wonderful.
school. So that really helps. And it's interesting that you say that the children become the most popular person when you bring the horses, because that happened to me whenever I have been busy. Uh, last year, well, not last year, 2020, my yearbook did a thing that they said what everyone's doing after college. And of course, I put my YouTube channel in there. That's
Uh-huh.
what I was doing. And everyone loved me after that. I was like, oh, so now you love me because I'm a celebrity. But it's amazing how unique things make us popular, but we still hide in the crowd of people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, being on the horse also makes me kind of submit everything bad that's going on. I don't even remember that. Oh yeah, that person forgot about me, or oh
Mhm.
yeah, my son's not here anymore. You
Mhm.
know.
Well, when you're on a horse, you are, 15 feet high, and so
Yeah.
you're on top of the world, and you really, and as you know, as a horseback rider, when you are riding, your focus has to be on the horse and has to be
Right.
on your body's connection with the animal. So you don't have time to think about the other stuff and the things that might be, bogging you down
Yeah.
when you're not in the saddle. So it is a beautiful experience, and even those who do not have who are fortunate not to have terminal illness or other challenges in their way, I would recommend that anybody get in the saddle once in a while because it is a pretty freeing experience.
Definitely. Or if you don't want to do that, you can volunteer at
Absolutely.
a therapeutic riding place.
Absolutely.
Because one, I know we need more volunteers, and two, if you can building a connection with somebody with a terminal illness or disability really does change your life. And I heard that from multiple people that I'm friends with, and it kind of teaches you to teach the world to be more inclusive.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, I mean, I volunteer a lot for our programs. I like to go to them and be a volunteer. And every single time, I'm not sure who has more fun, the kids or me.
Right. And same here with my volunteer because they met how involved with me and they asked me, oh my, wow, you are a disability owner. I mean, disability business owner, and I'm like, I am indeed that. And they met how involved with my brand. A lot of them follow me on YouTube. So yeah. But then I know you offer a variety of programs. Can you explain a little bit about each program?
Sure. So Camp Casey operates 4 different programs that are available to children with cancer, sickle cell disease, and other life-threatening illnesses. We've recently opened our parameters to serve other life-threatening illnesses. We feel very proud of the growth that our organization has experienced, and we've now been able to reach anybody who is having a hardship and needs something really special happening for them. Our Horsey House Call program is the one that I was speaking on a little bit earlier. This is where we show up to the child's home. And oftentimes these are kids who are having to miss out on other summer programs like summer camps or sports or clubs or Girl or Boy Scout kind of activities because they are immunocompromised and they are homebound and they are going through the depths of their treatment. So it's interesting because we've been running this program since 2006, I think, is when Horsey House Calls began, long before COVID, long before anybody knew what it felt like to be homebound and immunocompromised, which I think all of us can in many ways relate to now after going what we went through over the last years. So Camp Casey brings a recreational program to children who don't have access to that. We travel usually between 2 and 4 times a week at a different child's home from June through October. And we come with a full-sized horse. We knock on the door, the child opens the door, there's a horse on the doorstep, and we stay for about 2.5 hours with our equine team and our volunteer team. And we set up a really beautiful day of summer camp right at the child's home for the children of the household, and then they're able to invite 10 friends. So it becomes a beautiful celebration for that family. It's something that they'll never forget. It's probably the highlight of their summer or their year, or hopefully it's a lasting memory that they can always think back on. They're going through such difficult times while going through treatment. And we are hoping that we can offer them a little glimpse of happiness while going through these hardships. So that's Horsey House Calls. In addition to Horsey House Calls, we also operate a program called Cowboy Campouts. Cowboy Campouts, and all of our programs are very family focused. We recognize that illness of any sort is a family illness. I mean, it affects, and I'm sure you can relate, it is something that affects the siblings and the parents and sometimes the grandparents and extended family. So we really do our best to make it a very inclusive experience, not just for the child going through it, him or herself, but for the whole community around that child. The Cowboy Campout program is designed to give families the chance to get away during a time where they would probably not be in a position to plan or pay for a time away. So these are families who whose lives have just been turned completely upside down because of what they're going through, but they really need some time to connect with each other. And more than that, we would like to give them the opportunity to connect with other families going through similar circumstances in a way that's not as, I don't know, not as rigid, I suppose, as going to a support group. We want
Right.
this to be an organic experience. So what we do is we send 10 families on an all expense paid horseback riding vacation at a dude ranch. So there's a dude ranch in Michigan that we work with, and the families simply have to pack and show up, and they are put up in a beautiful log cabin. Each family has their own cabin, and they're very fancy cabins with air conditioning and TVs, and there's a little hot tub in the cabin, and it's like glamping, we like to call it,
Mm.
because it's in the woods, and the
Right.
setup is very unplugged, but they get a very nice setup while they are there. And each family is surrounded by another family who's going through something similar. So there are 10 families in total, all surrounding a campfire. It's in like a horseshoe shape, and then there's a campfire in the center. And the families are able to enjoy the weekend as they'd like. There's horseback riding, there's hay rides, there's go-karts, there's an indoor water park, there's food, really delicious food, and archery and swimming and all sorts of really fun activities that the families can enjoy together or separately. Sometimes the mom and dad just want to go on a trail ride and leave the kids back with the other kids because they would like a little bit of time to themselves that they've not had for years. But what's wonderful about it is they can not only develop deep connections within their own family unit, but then also interact with other families who are going through the same things that they are. What I notice all the time about the cowboy campout is that it doesn't take long, probably 10 minutes into the campfire on the welcoming night, where the children start taking their wigs off because they are around other children who are also wearing wigs and also would like that relief of pulling off their wig and enjoying that feeling of fresh air. So it's a really wonderful.
Okay, unpour now.
So the Cowboy Campout program is a great opportunity for families to not only unplug and enjoy a time away together, but then also get to know other families who are going through similar circumstances. We send 10 families twice a summer. So in total, we send 20 families.
Wow.
Anyway, of course, COVID had different plans for the Cowboy Campout program in 2020. And so we were unable to operate the Cowboy Campout program. But because we are innovative and creative and are in the line of business of working with a lot of challenges before us, we ended up taking the funds that we had raised for the Cowboy Campout program in 2020 and the families that we had signed up for the Cowboy Campouts, and we ended up sending them on their own individual horseback or their own individual vacations. We used Airbnb and VRBO to connect families, vulnerable families, with privately owned vacation rental properties in Michigan. And
Amazing.
from that, it was wonderful. We called it the Lone Star Getaway Program. And the plan was to do this temporarily in 2020 in lieu
Right.
of running the Cowboy Campout program. But the feedback that we ended up receiving from it was just phenomenal. We heard from families who had said that they have not had the chance to just escape and be on a lake or be away in the woods or somewhere else really remote and wonderful with their families um, for a long time. And it was very special, and it helped them enjoy the recreation and the time away that they desperately needed, but were not in a position to pay for. So we decided, and again, in 2021, we still were not comfortable sending the groups together on their trip, on the Cowboy Campout trip. So we again moved forward and completed the Lone Star Getaway program. Our hope is to keep both the Cowboy Campouts and the Lone Star Getaway programs as part of our services. So we've gone through the Horsey house calls, Cowboy Campouts, the Lone Star Getaways, and we have one final very small program, and I shouldn't say very small, it's smaller than the other three, called Outlaw Outings. And Outlaw Outings is a program that offers 1 day recreational activities and events and really fun experiences for the families that we've previously served. So this program was born because we kept getting applicants from families who had already received a Horsey House call and wanted another one, or already went on a cowboy camp out and wanted to go again. And unfortunately, we only have the funding to serve one family with one of our signature programs at a time. We would love to be able to continue to bring a horse to the family's home, but
Right.
the need and the demand makes that impossible, especially with our financial restraints. So, but we didn't want to say see you never once we had this wonderful experience with the families. So we ended up putting on a different program that offered 1-day outings that would allow us to reunite with the families we had previously served and give the families the chance to go to an apple orchard or a pumpkin patch or a professional sports game or a trail ride and reunite not only with each other and the friends that they've made along the way at Camp Casey, but also with the volunteers and the staff. And to be able to come back and say, oh, I'm 5 years out of treatment. Look at all my long hair that I have now. The last time when you saw me, I was completely bald and going through chemo. So
Right.
it's a wonderful chance for us to be able to stay in touch with the families that we've had such a special experience serving in the past. So those are the 4 programs that make up Camp Casey. And I should mention that they are all 100% free for the families we're serving. They cost us something. We have to do a tremendous amount of fundraising to make sure that these programs can stay available to the families that need them. But we do not ask our families to bring a penny to any of the programs that we serve. It's completely free for them to experience.
That's amazing because as you said, having a family getaway with multiple family, I feel like that's way better than a support group. I never been to a support group, but I knew I am part of, like I mentioned to you earlier, I am part of a adaptive women society with everyone is either have a party or in a wheelchair or any disability, and we're all women, and there's no men, nothing, and we always talk about how it's so much better than a support group because we are all born through so much the same thing or something similar to what the other person is going through, and that's so much easier than trying to explain to an outsider what you're going through because as much as the outside universe tries to understand, I feel like you won't understand unless you've gone through that same thing.
Yeah. Yes. And having that support is important to um, keeping your spirits up and keeping you well informed and understanding the other resources that might be out there. I mean, there's and simply just making friends who, like you said, relate to what you're going through in a way that nobody else actually can. Even if they say they can,
Yeah.
it's impossible unless you are actually experiencing it yourself. So it is I recommend that anybody going through any sort of hardship or anyone with a common interest, surround yourself with others who have that same commonality because you never know who you might be supporting and the kind of support you might receive.
May I 100% agree. When thinking of the future, Casey, what your hope and dream for it?
Well, I have lots of hopes and dreams for Camp Casey, depending on the way the wind is blowing. I have all sorts of different ideas. Ideally, if somebody, if Jeff Bezos handed me $10 million and said, "Here you go, spend it on Camp Casey," I would like to see Casey satellite programs available throughout the country. I think that we are based in the Detroit area and of Michigan, and I feel that the community that we're able to serve. Um, is fortunate that our program exists here, but cancer and illness and the need is everywhere. And so it would be wonderful to be able to bring this accessible program to families throughout the country and throughout the world even. It seems like something that can be done, maybe not in my lifetime, but I'm hoping that the organization continues to grow and thrive so that we can offer this service to families everywhere going through these hardships. And beyond that, a more short-term goal than that would be to have our own indoor riding space. Camp Casey is all mobile, and we bring our program to the families that we are serving with that particular program. But we are in Michigan, where we get sub-zero temperatures come few months from now, where our trucks and trailers have to sit vacant in our lot until Mother Nature allows us to get out into the field again. Ideally, I would like to see us have a place where we can bring the families that we serve to an indoor riding space so that we can offer year-round programs.
Right. That would be amazing. Academic program. I have never in my lifetime, and I rode when I was 5 years old, and I now ride when I'm 20. But I have never heard a program like yours who actually does more than offer your weekly therapy, or as they call it, hippotherapy on the horse. And I think that your program is more diverse and also more treatment based, like mental health and everything like that, and more connection, because when I'm writing, it's more I don't want a private lesson because there are other people there, but you don't connect with the other writer very much because they're there, but they're impossible around the ring, impacting each individual. And I think it's really cool because your program actually allows the writers and families to connect, not the writing in the same parameter as the other writer.
Yeah, and you know what? We work very closely with therapeutic riding centers. And I like to say, because when people first hear about Camp Casey, you're right. It's unique. As far as I can tell, all the Google searching that I've done, there's nothing like us anywhere. We are quite unique in that way. There's no other programs that do what we do. But the closest thing to our services is the hippotherapy and the therapeutic horseback riding world, which is important and has, again, there are study after studies conducted about the benefits of therapeutic horseback riding, and you yourself has firsthand experienced that. But we're different from the actual therapeutic horseback riding centers in the way that we offer more emotional support than we do physical support. Of course, the physical support is there because they are on the horse and they are asserting themselves and feeling empowered, learning how to ride. So a lot of that is similar. But I like to say that we're sort of cousins with the therapeutic riding centers. And in fact, we love our therapeutic riding partners because oftentimes the staff, the certified horseback riding instructors, will come on board with us and work with us, or sometimes we will use some of the horses that are suited for therapeutic riding as part of our own hero herd that we've established. So we work very hand in hand with each other. But I like to say that we're sort of cousins to the therapeutic riding world. Both have invaluable things to offer, but they are quite different. So.
Right. And my question is for those watching who want to get involved, what are some ways they can do so?
Well, that's my favorite question ever, because we are always needing help. We're a grassroots organization. We're 17 years old, which I'm very proud of, but we are still quite small, and we have yet to become a household name. When a child is diagnosed and the family is going through the beginning stages of getting through the treatment, they might not know that Camp Casey exists, and they might not know that they can benefit from what we do. So we need people like you and people, your viewers, to spread the word about our organization. Like us on Facebook, like us on Instagram, start following us, following our social media platforms, share our story with others, share Camp Casey's website, share our Facebook page and our Instagram page, tell a friend about what you've heard today, because that is how other families are going to hear about this phenomenal resource that is available to them that they just might not know about. It oftentimes surprises people to know the great lengths we go to reach the families that we serve, because, and rightfully so, there are privacy laws in place that prohibit our hospital partners from directly handing over the information of the families that we are looking to reach. So essentially the families have to come to us. And in order for the families to know about us, they need to have heard about us somewhere. And the best way for people to hear about us is through word of mouth and through social media. So that's number one. Share this story, share the Camp Casey page, try to tell a friend about this, because it is an interesting, unique program that likely you will be sharing with somebody who has never heard of us before. Secondly, fundraising, of course. And, it's never easy to ask anybody for money, because it's something that we all are trying hard to raise and save, but our programs are very expensive, and we require $0 from our families to be participants in what we do. So we are always looking for the generosity from those who are able to even write a $5 check or make a $5 donation online, to those who can make a $500,000 donation. Every donor that we are able to connect with is making an incredible difference in our organization. So we're always looking for fundraising opportunities and ways that we can keep our programs going, keep paying the liability and insurance bills that are pretty high, and the bills that we have to maintain our trucks and trailers and to maintain the horses that we use, to keep the t-shirts provided for the kids, and the pizza, and all of the other craft supplies and things that do cost us quite a bit of money. We require generosity from others stepping in to help. And then finally, we always need volunteers. So if you are in the Michigan area, we can use your help. Each Horsey house call, for example, requires 5 volunteers to be a part of that day, and we are putting on over 30 of them a year. So we need a robust volunteer list and a lot of people to offer a little bit of their time to give back. If you are not in the Michigan area and able to volunteer, I would like to encourage you to look into another program that you can volunteer for, because like we discussed earlier, volunteering really feels sometimes even better for the volunteer than it does for the child. The child
Yeah.
is enjoying the wonderful program, but really the magic is, it's a two-way street, and the magic that the volunteer is able to experience is something that no one should short themselves of, because it's a really, really wonderful way to enhance your life. So spread the word, give what you can, and volunteer with us.
Yeah, and I'll put, if you guys are looking for that information, I'll put it down here in the description, and it'll be on top of all my please go check out their website, and I will, if you're coming over from Instagram, what I put Maui bio up when I promote this video, I will also put their link in my link tree, which can be found in my bio by clicking on my Instagram account. So please go, depending on what platform you are on, please go check them out. And if it helps, I'm trying to volunteer at my therapeutic writing program. I actually send out an email. So even if you have a disability, I bet if you send them an email, if you're a writer or someone with a disability, send them out an email, let them know, like I told my handler, that, hey, I can't do any of the clinical work, but I would be more than happy to come out to your facility and sit at your desk and welcome people or whatever it may be. So yeah, you can more if you address in the email your idea, because I noticed that people aren't going to know or gonna say no because they don't want to put in the work for coming up with the activity or volunteer task that you
That's
can do.
true. People are lazy. So come up with what you want to do, be that squeaky wheel. And yeah, any nonprofits love and live on the energy that is provided from those who come to us with innovation and ideas and creativity. So I think that is really incredible advice that you are giving your viewers, that if you have an idea and you know how you can bring value to an organization or to a program, shout it from the mountaintops and tell the people who are running that program, because I would bet all the money that I have in the bank that they would welcome you with open arms and want you to be a part of their program, because they want the kind of innovative, creative people on their team who know that they do bring value and that they can lend a hand to their organization. So that's a
Yeah,
fantastic suggestion.
definitely. I randomly came up with that a couple weeks ago because I want to spend more time at my barn so I can look out the window and see my horse.
Mhm.
Now here I ride twice a week at two different facilities, but it's hot where I'm at, so most of the time we don't have it.
Mhm.
It's too hot. So I'll send out an email and see if I can volunteer them to spend more time at the facility.
Wonderful.
So thank you everyone for watching this video. Thank you, Molly, for being on my channel.
Thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be a part of this. And I just hope that we stay in touch. And I wish you the best of luck with your platform. And thank you for all you're doing to make a really big difference in this world.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. If you like this video, like this video. If you like this video or my course, please share this video with everyone you know. Subscribe if you're new. Comment down below any questions, and I can send it to Molly or whatever. Or I can try and answer it if it's something to know about me writing or Manera Therapeutic writing, and then I'm also going to put down a couple of other writing programs that I know of, some people who use them, or mine in particular, and say you're not in the Michigan area. I have some that you other writing centers all over, so I'll make them too, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.